The camera is controlled by the digital micrograph software. If it's not open, you should open the digital micrograph software using this icon here, GMS3. Once digital micrograph is open, click on TEM Imaging here. This will give you the options for TEM imaging. These are the default options for imaging and image capture with the camera. So make sure that when you start imaging, that these options are set correctly. So this should be on I for imaging, 4K. The view exposure should be 0.0399. Capture should be set to automatic and correct drift should be ticked. Once you've found a nice area to image and you know that you're working to the right of crossover, then spread the beam a little so that the area that you want to image looks a bit dim. And then we are ready to insert the camera and start using the camera to image. You can then switch the rim lights back on. Press this button here, screen up. Then you can replace this cover here. In the TEM imaging section of digital micrograph, press View here to insert the camera. When you press View, you will see that the camera icon here will go from here to here, indicating that the camera has now been inserted in the path of the electrons. Once the camera is inserted and the view mode is active, you should see a window that shows your sample. You will also see the image status window. In the image status window, make sure that display calibrated units is unticked. The OneView camera is a very expensive and very good camera, so it's very important to make sure the camera is not overexposed. I will show you now how you monitor exposure in the images that are sent to this camera. First of all, hover with the mouse anywhere on your live view image. While hovering with the mouse on the live view image, look at this value here. This value indicates the brightness of the pixel that you are on top of with your mouse. Now we're going to use the brightness button to increase or decrease that value of pixel intensity. When you are using the camera, always use the brightness button in the fine mode, which means the light next to it will be dim. If the light next to the brightness button is very bright, it means it's in the coarse mode. Never use the brightness button in the coarse mode when you are using the camera, as you may accidentally overexpose the camera and damage it. If you turn the brightness button clockwise, so you are working to the right of crossover and you are now spreading the beam, you should see this value here decrease. Your image should also look a little bit dimmer as you spread the beam. Now if you turn the brightness button counterclockwise, then you are focusing the beam, you should see this value increase. You should also see that your image gets clearer, sharper. Aim to work with a pixel intensity value between 2 and 3000. You will get very nice images if you work around this level. At higher magnifications, let's say above 50K, it's possible that you won't be able to achieve 2,000 to 3,000 pixel intensity. But that's not a problem. This camera can take nice images even at much lower intensity values than this. If you go above 2,000 or 3,000, you start risking overexposing the camera. So you don't want to go much above 2,000 or 3,000 in pixel intensity. If you are in the view mode and at any point you see pixels, very quickly spread the beam. The pixelated pattern means that your camera is being overexposed, and that's very dangerous for the camera. Because you are working to the right of crossover, you instinctively know that if you turn the brightness button clockwise, you are spreading the beam. So if you do, by mistake, end up having a pixelated pattern on your view mode, which means you're overexposing the camera, very quickly go to the brightness button and turn it clockwise so that you spread the beam and you stop seeing the pixels and you stop overexposing the camera. If you find that in the live view image there isn't even illumination of your sample, so there's one side of the image that looks darker than the other side, then that means that the beam is not centered on your image. So the beam, instead of coming into here, it's actually coming into here, so it's off center. This is very easy to fix. All you need to do is use the multifunction X and Y buttons here to reposition the beam until you get even illumination. You should not take images of your sample when the area that you want to image is not evenly illuminated. If you would like to search for a different area to image, you should bring the magnification down until you can see the grid bars. And then you can use the trackable to move to a different area.